Hey everybody, Matt Siltola here alongside Dave Rohr. We're looking forward to bringing you another episode of the Business of Digital podcast. And today we're going to be talking about just different digital marketing opportunities beyond Facebook and Google. Um, all the time, Dave and I are talking about this subject, talking about how people tend to put way too many eggs in one basket, or if you're thinking that you have to rank number one on Google for your business to succeed, or all is wrong, and nothing's right in the world. We want to talk about how, first of all, you're wrong, but also how there's many different opportunities and channels and sources for your business, for driving traffic, and for succeeding. And so that's really what we're going to get into. So before we jump into it, hey Dave, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Looking forward to chatting with you about this one, because one of the things that I'm often, this will date us how long we've been in this industry. I remember back to a time when if you did get banned on Google or something, or AdSense, for example, that could ruin a business. And, that was the only source for a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of these social networks that were out there. There wasn't a lot of opportunities. This is when MySpace had just started out, and it really wasn't, any kind of a marketing machine. And again, before any kind of other social media or other avenues for people to be able to broadcast themselves and whatnot. And so, lucky are the people today, marketing today. Obviously there's some challenges, and hey, what should I do? And hopefully we can clear that up for them. But I'm all for this wild west, if you will, of just different sources, because one of the things that I think back to a lot is way back in, I think it was around 2003 or 4, I can't remember, when AdSense had first come out, and I was doing a bunch of ads, and I did something. They changed their terms of service or something, and I got banned, and all the revenue was gone, just poof, like that. And I learned very quickly right then that it was not good to put all my eggs in one basket. And I started deciding, okay, I needed to diversify. I needed to figure out what are some other means. Like, let's say that Google was to take all my rankings away, or Google was to take AdSense revenue away, which they did. Like, how can I make money? What are some other things that I can do? And again, I like how you, when we were talking about this off mic, how you talked about it being, living by just one traffic source is asking for trouble. And maybe just start on that point and, share your thoughts.
So no Google welfare? You lost Google welfare? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You lost it for a little while?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
I had a site where I was using...
No, but this was before it was welfare, though. This was back when I can get $50 for a click.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. I haven't done too much affiliate stuff, so you might still be able to do that, but I'm sure it's only the Pill Sports Casino type stuff, perhaps, is some law stuff.
Yeah.
Some law stuff is still kind of in that range, which I don't quite know anymore. We should probably have someone on for that. I've just over the years, there's been so many times where I've had, and I had a client just a couple of years ago that came to me, and they had done SEO and kind of had to burn a site to the ground and walked away from it, and they started over. Because they did so much black hat stuff and just shady stuff and so much link spamming that they had to just walk away from it. So they had a brand new site and they moved over.
Which side note, I think that every legit SEO should have one of those, anyway.
Just burn it to the ground and try
Figure out what, yeah, exactly. So, anyway, go ahead.
so they came to me and they're like, we've been focused on PPC, and I think, I don't know, it's been a couple of years now, but I think if I was to look at the sales percentage, like 95% was coming from PPC and from Google. And 99% of that was coming from Google, just AdWords.
Wow.
And they've been doing it for 2 years, and they'd actually grown the business. but they were kind of looking at the numbers going, wow, we're spending a lot on PPC every month, and our margins keep shrinking every month. And we're going to hit a point where we're not going to be able to make any sales, and our business is in trouble. And it took them like 2 or 3 years to get to this point. And they've grown. I think they had a headcount of 10, 15 people.
Wow.
And they were selling a lot of stuff online. But they literally had all of their eggs in one basket.
Okay.
And had they run afoul of, Google AdWords rules, they would have been shut down probably in a month or two. Because all of their eggs in one single basket, and not even just, with one company, it was like one part of one company.
And what's scary about that, you think about it's just scary thinking about that with the, you said they had 10 employees. That's, 10 families potentially that were out of work or, that might be struggling. And that's something that's constantly on my mind. That's what I'm thinking of. The bigger we get, the more employees we have, what that means. And that's why this subject is really near and dear to me, making sure that we're not doing anything to screw up and that we have all of our channels and avenues open, because, it's not just about me anymore. It's not just about one individual. There's a lot of people's lives that could be affected with a lot of this stuff. But, that's the point you were making, but go ahead.
Well, and you could probably even talk to it better than I can. So for just say, well, I use Avalanche Media, or you can use, anything you want. But how many different sources of referrals, business, traffic do you have? Can you think of?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, we have just from networking events, just from relationships that I've set up, from Google, just organic natural results, just from paid listings. We're on many different lead generating sites through networking events. I can go on and on and on. Like probably, just off the top of my head, some of the big ones, I'm thinking of dozens of them.
Yeah. So you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
No, absolutely not.
At all. And you also have a podcast, you speak, keynote speak, you even do different events. So you're not even just like at one type of conference, just one search conference. You're at multiple search conferences, multiple industry conferences. So you're not even just in one type of conference or one type of networking event. You're networking across all sorts of different industries even.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something that I hadn't even thought about, but yeah, because if I was, and I think back to, when I first got into this industry, and I was what I would consider a SEO. Like all I did really was SEO, and if my business didn't evolve, and if things didn't grow, or if I didn't change, and if I was just trying to, what worked back in the day. For SEO, if it didn't evolve or if I didn't grow, if I had all my eggs in that one basket, things wouldn't be so good right now. So,
for a small business, I know there's different review sites for like a restaurant, say. A lot of them advertise on Yelp and focus on Yelp, but for a SaaS solution, there's also CNET, where I've had to spend many hours with people that were complaining. There's different top 10 review sites. There's different bloggers that can, get it to become an influencer or authority and start their own websites. Yelp, TripAdvisor, if you're any kind of restaurant, hotel, or kind of work with there. But to me, those are all different channels beyond what, Google and Facebook are.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I look at, the thing that scares me for some businesses is, and I talk to individuals that are like, oh, and I know them, they're in this local area and they're doing really well right now, and their whole business is on Instagram. They're like, oh, I don't do anything. I'm not on Facebook, or I don't care about Google, or I'm just on Instagram. And I think, okay, well, that's all great and you're doing really well right now, but what happens if something happens and Instagram's funding happens, or Facebook decides to pull the plug on it, or bring it all in one place? You never know what can happen. I guarantee you, everyone that was on MySpace back in its heyday, would have never thought that Facebook would have become what it is, and that MySpace wouldn't be what it was. You know what I mean? And so that's just kind of the point that I think we're trying to help people understand is, if you're doing really successful on Instagram, that's great, that's fabulous, but expand it. Why can't you open up to Twitter and use it as a customer service tool or a place to listen to your people? Or why can't you get on Facebook? Or why can't you even just create a website and start to see what you could do with ranking on Google, even if you're a local business. There's a lot of local tools and things that Google offers you where you could drive traffic to your. Anyway, there's just so many opportunities, and I really worry about those people that create those businesses, and they're like, I'm only on this one channel because you think right now, just as I guarantee it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you remember back when MySpace was huge, dude. Did you ever think it was going to die in its heyday?
Nope, did not. Not with what was it? The largest. I think it got to like 750 million people at the time, and it was crushing anything else at the time.
I remember I didn't think that there was going to be anything beyond dig.com, and so I remember there was and I'm glad I can say I practice what I preach in this, because I remember, other ones like Stumble Upon were coming up. Newsvine was one of them that, it's pretty much no longer now. And there was just others, Reddit, obviously. But I remember, I was getting front page of digs and, the kind of server crashing traffic that you'd get from a front page of dig. And there was a time when I was like, this is it, man. And I know that there was a lot of people that were, hey, my whole business model is around getting people on the front page of Dig. Well, guess what? When that went away, what were those people doing? And so, I'm glad to say that, during that time, I was also exploring different things with Stumble Upon. I was exploring different things with, like I already mentioned. But the point being is we've been in this long enough to know that, hey, these things come and go. Like, I honestly, that's another one. I'm glad I thought of it with Dig. That's one with the amount of traffic that it was bringing and how popular it was in its heyday. I never would have thought that it would have gone by the wayside.
It used to crush people's servers, and from a video side, I was on, was it 6 seconds or 12 seconds .tv?
Oh yeah.
And which is hilarious because it came before Instagram, before Snapchat, and it was
before Vine.
Those are basically the same thing. And that's the other one, Vine. Vine just went away.
And think about those people that became Vine famous. And I remember watching an interview with a couple there, and their whole model, everything was based around 6-second videos on Vine. Well, now what?
Yeah. Well, they put in, and that's kind of what we're just trying to, hammering home probably a whole lot, is just diversify. And I talked to, but then there's also times where there's going to be industry sites that honestly you really should be on. Lawyers is one of them. I talked to a lawyer who actually, it's like a year or two ago now, but she actually targeted lawyers. So as we went through keyword research and as we went through what her plan was and what she was trying to do with her website and update it and all this stuff, we were talking about, where AdWords made sense and Bing and stuff. And, she had a very limited budget. And I was like, well, what's the ROI on what you're doing here? What's your budget look like? How much do we have? And when she started telling me the types of services she offered and who she was targeting, the amount of, it was going to be so hard to target other lawyers through the types of services she was offering. We were going to have to create ads that really basically said, hey, lawyer, if you want help with this, contact me.
Yeah.
Or if you're a consumer, don't go away. And I was like, we're going to have to really word this in a weird kind of way because I don't know if lawyers are going to be searching for this and what kind of garbage, quote unquote garbage, which would be, you or me asking for them to do the service. She wanted to do, she was basically looking B2B.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're looking at it, I was like, long term, this might or might not make sense, but you just don't have a budget. So really, you're working over here with referrals with this person, you're doing this, you're on a lawyer type site and you're driving a lot of traffic. Honestly, this budget you're talking about, if your ROI right there is good and you're looking at, diversifying to these 2 or 3 other things, I would do that.
Right.
Now, she probably did have 70% of her business coming from that bucket, but at the same time, she was also expanding to 1 or 2 more. So, when we say don't live and die by one, we're also not saying, shotgun spread it everywhere, but do try to diversify, one at a time, or, look for other things that might make sense. Test something. If you're only on Google and you only do Google ads, take a look at Facebook ads. Take a look at Bing. Take a look at some other things that you could possibly do. Take a look at paid social, Twitter. Kind of look for other things. Some of them might not make sense.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because one of the things that that I discovered, because as you know, I have one of the businesses that I own is a mattress company, a couple of them actually, and one of them we do custom stuff for. And what we discovered was how good Bing was, because think about this, and I think sometimes people don't think about this kind of stuff, but think about the kind of people that buy custom mattresses for RVs and campers and things like that. Maybe they're older, they're more retired. What do the older people use? They use what's on the computer that they bought, the Dell or whatever it might be, which by default is MSN or Bing, And so we found out that we had really good ROI with running ads on Bing, because that's just where they're at. That's where the target audience was and is. And so anyway, it's just something that it's, I laugh when people make fun of Bing, or, oh, I'm just going to focus on Google, or I don't want to throw any money there, because, for whatever reason. It's like, all right, I'll just take advantage of it then.
Yeah. And even just with paid or with SEO, and people are like, we want to rank for this keyword, or we want to buy this keyword. And it's like, well, what's the ROI? Why don't we go longer tail?
Yeah.
Not just Google, but across the board, it's like, why don't we try to spread it out? And also, go offline. I know this is we're supposed to be talking digital mostly on this show, but also go offline. See what you can do offline. We both speak at conferences. Matt speaks more than I do, but that's offline. That kind of goes online. Magazines, flyers.
Well, we do a lot of we do a lot of billboards, but a lot of billboards that drive people back to digital sites, and I think it all goes hand in hand. I mean, it's all part of the your goal here. I know that we're in the business of digital, but the goal here is to drive traffic back to your website and your business, or bring people through your door, or whatever it might be. Yeah. And so, again, it all ties in together. If having that billboard or that offline opportunity is going to help you get more people, I look at it this way. Like, let's say that I do a conference that's offline, but it's going to get more people through my door. Or if I'm a dentist or a real estate person speaking at an event or whatever it might be, that might be offline, but eventually it's going to drive more people to me, which is going to make me more money, which gives me more money to invest in my online and in my digital to be able to target more of those other channels. And so it all ties in.
Yeah. The number of people that I've worked with over the years would come to me and want help with SEO, and I start asking what their marketing plan is, and they're like, well, I was going to hire you.
Google.
Like, no, that's not a marketing plan.
Or they just say Google. Sorry.
Yeah. Google. And if nothing else, if you take nothing else away, step back from what you're doing online and offline, and kind of take a look and see, are you living and dying by one? We get these flyers all the time for the local restaurants and different services. Is that your only marketing vehicle? Or are you living and dying by your SEO? Or are you living and dying by your PPC? Take a look and see what percentage of your business comes from where, and then start to test other places to see if you might not get the same ROI, but see if you can't, diversify some so that should something happen, like, you run afoul within Google AdWords and all of a sudden you lose 80% of your business.
Yep.
Well, what if it's only 40%, or what if it's 95%?
Very good.
Try to, you can always turn up and down PPC, but those other things, some of them can take a lot of time, like SEO.
Well, I think of another example for me is eBay. Okay, now I'm not saying eBay's dead, but when's the last time you bought something on eBay?
I do every so often, but not constantly.
Compared to maybe like 5 years ago. Okay, I used to buy stuff on eBay all the time. I don't buy stuff on eBay hardly anymore. Okay, and so the thing is, like, the reason I bring that up is because I remember courses of teaching people how to run businesses just on eBay. Now, I get that there's probably still people that do, and they might have been one of the oldest or have like a specific niche, but again, it's not the traffic driver that it was. It can't compete with Amazon. But when it was in its heyday again, telling someone that, hey, you wouldn't, eBay's not going to be as big as it once was, you would have laughed at them. And so, again, more to the point in the takeaway that you were saying, just let's be involved in all the different channels, be involved in all the ones that make the most sense for you. Don't just think that Google is your end-all solution. Don't think that Facebook is your end-all solution. Don't think that Instagram is your end-all solution. Let's figure out a way to be a part of all these traffic sources, okay? I look at it in the offline world. If I was to only do internet, it looks like we lost Dave on that, but we're wrapping it up, and I'm Matt Siltala for Dave Rohr, Northside Metrics. I'm with Avalanche Media. If there is any questions that you have about this podcast, let us know. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.